welcome. If anyone's out there, thank you for listening. The first article here is Australia's secret UFO history, abductions, disappearances, and strange backyard visits. Now, this was done by a news agency because there was a paranormal podcast called Believe, done by Cade Morey, and apparently he spoke to many people in Australia about their UFO experiences, but also apparently many people aren't sharing their UFO experiences, which I don't think is very uncommon. I think most people are afraid they're going to be considered crazy, or their neighbors are going to think they're insane because they saw something, or maybe they're not even sure what they saw. So in a way, it does make sense that there's a lot of Australians that haven't reported their um, encounters or just sightings they can't explain themselves. They even reference that there's people that haven't told anyone for 40 years about their UFO sightings. And of course, they reference the idea that, UFO sightings are from, everyone. It's not a particular group that, they say, police officers, truckers, stay at home moms, doctors, anyone down the line has had experiences. And probably depending on how professional, or if you know, have more to lose, I suppose, in a professional sense. If you own a place, you probably don't want to say anything. They do from here. They go into some photos, and oh yeah, first they have here. They basically just talk about a guy here. His name is Roger Stankovic, and he helps down with the Mutual UFO Network. They said they get about 20 in the last 20 years. They've gotten about 1,000 sightings Australia wide. They say that they get very few hoaxes down there, and they say that the one hoaxes that they do get are very obvious hoaxes, so they count them out very well. They say MUFON is very stringent down there with validating anything, which, I mean, makes sense. You can't just go about it that way. So you have a few recent UFO encounters, and they have some older ones that I just want to go through just because they're interesting. The Moody Ponds, Victoria, February 2019. A flying disc about 6 to 20 meters long, traveling between 1,000 kilometers and 1100, sorry, at very low altitude and making no sound. Flight data did not indicate any aircraft in the area at that time. And then you have Seaford, South Australia, April 2018. Footage obtained from the dash cam accidentally moved so it pointed towards and showed a small white luminous orb about 5 meters to 10 meters in diameter, appearing at the altitude of 2,000 meters and executing impossible maneuvers. Flight data revealed no aircraft in the area at the time. No manipulation of the footage was revealed after careful MUFON analysis by U.S. experts. Footage from other sources revealed the object punched a hole in the cloud as it passed through it. Next, you have the Patrick Estate, Queensland, 2018. Slow motion video reveals a flat, disc-like object flying at trajectories unseen in animal life or human-made technology. No video manipulation detected. Now, they just have photos, so there's no actual videos, unfortunately. So that's, I'm not skipping over all the good videos. So now you have some older ones that so this first one here, which is in Westall, Melbourne, April 6th, 1966. Hundreds of students and teachers from the local state high school and primary school witnessed a strange craft descend into a nearby field. There was no civilian or military aircraft activity in the area at the time, and the sighting has yet to be explained. Which this one very much reminds me of the 1994 Zimbabwe encounter where they had 64 students where a UFO landed outside of their school, which is a really interesting read if you are at all curious on that one. Somewhere over the Bass Strait, October 21st, 1978. Pilot Frederick Valentich is on a training flight on the Cessna light aircraft. The 20-year-old reports being followed by a flying object about 300 meters above him and tells Melbourne air traffic controls it is not an aircraft. He has not been heard of since his disappearance and never explained. Now that is crazy. Just disappearing. Going the old Amelia Earhart disappearing way. Nullarbor Plain, somewhere in South Australia. January 20th, 1988. Faye Knowles and her adult son Patrick, Wayne, and Sean are chased down the highway, then lifted in the air by a large glowing ball when they report the incident to the Seduna. The car is badly, inexplicably dented. And then I think gonna close here. You have the Denogs Ranges, New Belgrave, Victoria. August 8th, 1993, Kelly Calhill and her husband see a large object hovering above the road. They go to take a look and meet others equally curious. All are abducted by aliens who leave small marks on their bodies. Cahill writes the 1996 book Encounter about the experience, with later features in The X-Files. And if you don't know about The X-Files, you should really watch The X-Files. This story right here is pretty short. It's just basically a little girl, 6 years old, sitting in the back of her car, and they see an orb that just drastically gets closer and approaches them, and eventually she passes out, and apparently it's still traumatic to her, and she's 33 years old. This photo here, which looks very, I'm going to say, reptilians, is actually from the podcast Believe, which most of the article is actually based off of. So I know it's probably long and I went through them, but I thought they were interesting. So thank you. So this next video is about a bizarre moment where explosion lights up the Coventry sky. Now, there's been a lot of reports, especially here in the States, about explosions, rumblings, things that people can't really explain, and very rarely have I heard an explanation for them. It's typically a lot of people hear something, they go on a social media outlet, they talk about it, but there's really nothing that comes of it. So here's the actual video. There is no sound, but I will biggie size it for you. I started it into about 30 seconds in because, as far as I could tell, I didn't see anything else. And if you look, so over here, you have a plane, something appear. It just kind of casually moves across the sky, and then you get here in about a few seconds, you'll get the explosion, which is you'll see it's very bright and very noticeable, like that right there, like, good lord. But that's really the only thing in the video. There is nothing else that I have seen. I've watched it a few times. I don't see any other real movement, and so all you really see is this plane or object. It kind of just pops out over here. There you go, right there. There's a little guy, just moving slowly across the sky. Through the article, one of the discussions that they have is that it could be a sonic boom, that the sonic boom was caused by possibly this craft in the sky, which maybe the distance makes it look slower, because I don't know, maybe I'd imagine that something moving at that speed would be faster, but I could be my eyes tricking me. But there you go. See it again. There's really not, like I said, there's really not much more to it. You don't really see where the plane comes from, besides maybe like a little blip, and then it'll come right there, and you just kind of see it. So maybe it came from behind this tree's area. But yeah, unbiggie size your meal. That's basically about it. It goes with the usual things. People reported it. People on social media talked about it. It was on Facebook. Things along those lines. The Royal Air Force hasn't said anything, so there's been no denying or confirming or anything. So take that for what it is. But honestly, I mean, I don't really would expect the Air Force to come out and be like, just a UFO, guys, don't worry. So, but I find this stuff interesting, so thank you. So here's my next story by RT Question More. Does not have an author here. It has an illustration. But it's basically about the one thing that was pretty big news, the 100-day time clock until the government and other agencies had to reveal their information on UFOs. So I'm looking into this because there's a little more detail in this than some of the other previous articles that I had read. So this might be basically repeating some things, but I found a little more information myself. If you don't know about this, this was something that was put into the stimulus, the emergency relief bill that came through. It was actually placed in the 5,600-page bill that was signed by Trump in late December. So here's a little bit here. The report is required to include a detailed analysis of unidentified aerial phenomena, data, and intelligence reporting collected or held by almost all U.S. intelligence agencies. Now, the word almost there is a little concerning because you would hope it'd be more, but I guess, a little bit is nice. But I mean, I think most of us didn't really think that everything's going to come out. So maybe we'll get, a little, like some good hors d'oeuvres, I suppose. It must also include identification of any incident or patterns that indicate a potential adversary may have achieved breakthrough aerospace capabilities that could put the United States strategic or conventional forces at risk. A former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence has backed the move, saying he hopes the incoming Biden administration will rigorously execute its oversight progressives regarding the report. The concerns of the public and numerous military personnel have been ignored by the national security bureaucracy for far too long, says Christopher Mellon, which was one of the individuals where, here in the next bit of the article here, they go into basically the release of the Tic Tac videos. They go into these 3 videos. So if you don't know about the Tic Tac videos or haven't seen the Tic Tac videos, then I would very much recommend you look into those as well, because those are quite interesting. Thank you. So the last one I have here is a short video, and it is apparently a ghost caught on video in a hospital by a YouTuber. So I'll run it for you. I will, of course, well, let's see, hold on. I will biggie size it because you're going to miss what they're talking about. So what you're going to be looking for is up here at the top, look into the doorway is what you're going to be looking for. See, I am not. Oh. So this is what you're looking for. This figure here. Would you please not suggest videos at the moment? Thank you. Okay, so let's try to go back. There you go. It doesn't really get much better than that, but that's what you're looking at. The video goes on for another, 30 seconds with them just kind of wandering about this place, but that's essentially what you're looking at. So, take that for what it is, see what you think. But I do enjoy going through paranormal news. It's just some days you just don't get a lot. I try to look for as much as I can, but unfortunately you just don't see it. So I'll run the whole thing, just so you kind of see. So it's kind of a quick, and then she pans back up, and you kind of see it walking away. So I'll do that one more time, just in case you're curious. And that's that. So I do hope you found that at least interesting, and thank you for watching.